He would play yesterday. Kevin Durant did not play. Next up for Team USA is Sunday's game that counts against Serbia. So, Keyshawn, now do you expect KD to play at all in these Olympics?
Yeah, no, I do. He'll play, Skip. Because if he wasn't playing, he just wouldn't be sitting there hanging out.
He's hanging out.
He could do that anywhere at any
And by the way,
time.
Steve Kerr made it clear we are not going to replace him. He will be on the final roster on Saturday night going into Sunday.
Yeah, so, you know, you give him 15, 20 minutes. I would say Paul would know this better than me. He probably is the one guy out of all these guys that doesn't need much practice because of his skill set. He can just pull up and shoot anytime he wants to all day long. He could guard all 5 positions if he need to. I'm not worried about him at all, not one bit. You know, he obviously, when he's ready to go, he'll go. You know, when he's ready to go, he'll go. I know that everybody thought he was going to play yesterday, but in the end, why risk anything? Let's just get it all the way to where we need to from a health standpoint, get him up to speed, and you can insert him right into the lineup. I mean, he actually played for Steve Kerr. So any type of sets that they want to run, that's a little bit of that Golden State stuff, it's in his memory bank. He knows all the coaching, you know, he knows all of that. So I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about it.
Do I think he's going to play? I think he'll play. I mean, you see him out there getting shots up. He's around the team or, you know, I think KD wanted to come here. He wanted to be a part of this process. He wanted to win his 4th gold medal. So I think eventually, you know, taking all the precautions that they've taken with the calf and knowing that he's torn his Achilles before from a calf injury, that they're just taking the most precautions. And do they need KD to win gold? No, they don't need KD. Would they like to have him? Of course, another nuclear weapon, one of the great scoring Olympians of all time, basketball-wise. Love to have that in your back pocket, right? So, and it could be a case where, you know, they're not really dependent on him to play a lot of minutes. You know, you can start him off slowly, give him 3-4 minutes at the end of each quarter, then wrap him up from there. But, you know, for the most part, it looks like, you know, from him stepping on the court and practice, getting shots up, because if it was really that bad, you know, he'd probably be on the sideline for the most part. He dressed yesterday. He was on the bench. He's been part of all the activities. So it looks like, you know, at some point we'll see KD. And so I look forward to it, too, because like I said yesterday, he's one of the few plug-and-play guys that you have in the league. Like, you can put him at any position. You don't have to run no plays for him. He can spot up. He can bring the ball up. You know, there's just nothing he can't do as an offensive player on the court. So I look to see him out there eventually.
I'm starting to have my doubts about this, only because Keyshawn mentioned memory bank Steve Kerr, and then you mentioned Achilles. It was horrible. And it was because he had a calf pull and he slightly rushed it back, and all that stuff is interconnected, and all of a sudden the Achilles ruptured. And even though Brian Windhorst said, I asked Kevin the other day, point blank, is the Achilles on your mind? And he said no, and he wouldn't reiterate. Well, I don't know that Kevin's going to admit publicly, but I just think it's got to be playing on your psyche a little bit that happened on the biggest stage in the NBA in a finals game. And what I hate about this is he still can't go. And when you talk about ramping up, well, the ramp ended. You know, like now it matters.
Yeah.
And this is just me. I thought going in, I think it's KD or bust. I think they need him to win gold. And you don't. Yeah. He is so good at this level. And to your point, there's never in the history of superstardom in this league been a more efficient, blending superstar than Kevin Durant, because you can just put him with anybody.
Yeah.
You can stick him in, you just name it, just put him in with Russ and James Harden, or then ship him over here and he'll play with Steph and Clay and Draymond. And it'll be smooth. There'll be no ripples at all, because he doesn't need the basketball that much. And when he touches it, it goes up, and it usually goes in, right? Because he's going to take fewer shots than most stars will and make more of those shots. So I've watched him so long on the international stage. He loves this. He thrives on it. and he's as clutch as you get in late games. I'll never forget that Australia game, what was it, 4 years ago.
So you saying they can't win the goal without
I just
KD?
think you need him because when we first talked about this, I counted on him. I thought he might not play through the scrimmages, but then once they got to the Canada game, the first practice game, I thought we'd get a little bit of Kevin and then a little bit more against Australia and a little bit more, and we got zero.
If it was that severe, Skip, they would probably send him home. They sent Kawhi home.
I understand unless they're honoring him just because he is their.
He could be one of those guys like we enjoy having him around.
Yes,
based on
well, that could be the case too.
Yeah.
But he's gonna play. He's gonna play. Like you said, he.
Well, Skip said they can't win gold without Kevin Durant.
They can win gold.
On record.
What's that?
On record, the U.S. will not win gold if Kevin Durant doesn't play.
And yet, do I think he'll try? I hope so. And now we get to this. You tell me, how soon can you get your legs in game shape? Because this is serious business now.
Yeah, well, like I said, you can use KD for like end of quarter, end of game situations.
Okay.
Because you can't tell me that you can't put KD in the game with like a minute to go.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? And he down there, like, you're not going to leave him wide open.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Do you think when he's been ginger on his calf, not one to push too hard off it?
Yeah, you don't have to play him long minutes,
Are you in shape at all? Do you have any leg shape?
Yeah, they'll have this. They'll have the
he's
next.
born in shape.
So when is the U.S. next game on? What, Monday?
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah. This Sunday, he have a few days to get some scrimmages in. I'm sure he's probably already been doing something wrapping up to this because they already said he could possibly play in this last game versus versus Germany, which he didn't. So they was like, you know, we'll hold him out one more. Let's get him ready for the real thing. So he'll practice this week. I honestly think he'll play in game one versus Serbia. So, you know, just from watching him in practice, shoot right there and suiting up goes a long way. If you actually got the uniform on, that there's a possibility that Kirk could be like, go in right here for this last shot at the end of the game, which he could have did, but LeBron sealed the deal by going on an 11-0 run by himself. You know, I'm sure that could have been a situation where you throw KD at the end of a game play. So, you know, I look for him to suit up. I think, like watching him right here. Look, I mean, you know, he can step out on the court if it's that bad. You're not going to even. You're going to be in the medical room getting treatment.
He actually lifting too, though.
Yeah. So, I look forward to seeing him though.
I mean, he's pushing off on the calf.
I know, but it is. Listen, when you get out here in these games against these teams, they take this very seriously, and you have to rise to their emotional level because it's fever pitch out there for these games. It's going to be serious.
Yeah, he'll be fine, though. He's playing in short minutes at first, 2 or 3 minutes at a time in the quarter.
Do you think he could ramp up through the Olympic tournament to get to a place for the gold medal game?
There's going to be some games skipped. There's going to be some games skipped. There's going to be some stinkers. Yeah. U.S. is going to win by about 30, 40 points. And you're going to have an opportunity.
Wait, you said earlier in the show they weren't going to win by 30 or 40.
No, they're going to have some stinkers. There's just too many teams that they're that much more talented than.
Okay, I haven't
seen one yet. It may not be South Sudan, but it's going to be a team out there. They're going to be up by like 20 in the first quarter.
I have not seen Puerto Rico, and they're in our group, so we have to play them.
Yeah, so
but I did see Serbia, and that will not be a stinker. And I did see South Sudan, and I don't think we might win by 10 or 12, but I don't think we're going to win by 40.
So we won't have no games by 30?
Maybe Puerto Rico, but I don't know enough about it. Here I am, and it's like we didn't know anything about South Sudan, and now we're saying, uh-oh, right?
Don't talk about Puerto Rico now.
I don't know. I'm not even sure who that is.
I got to see Puerto Rico first.
I got to see Puerto Rico first. I'm not going to say nothing.
Okay, but I have seen Australia, and I have seen Germany, and I've watched France, even though we haven't played France, and I'm just telling you, they've been together. You both made the point for a much longer time than we have. They're much more efficient basketball teams than we are. And so you have to be ready to match their emotion because they don't like us. And they will come fearlessly after us when it matters.
Yeah, but I think these guys that's on the Olympic team, with or without KD, understand the mission. The mission is bring home the gold.
Absolutely.
And that's why even in these practice games, when things have gotten tough, the stars rose to the occasion. It's just...
Yeah, but they have more than enough.
That's what I'm saying. They got so much
KD,
more.
Like you're saying they won't win without KD, and I'm like, they have more than enough.
You act like this is like, Skip, you sound like it's like Serbia that he's missing, that he's supposed to be on that team and they missing him to be able to say if KD was on Serbia, they'd win gold. They got these dudes, NBA players that we have, the Americans that we have on our team, them dudes is good, Skip. And they can turn it on at any given moment. We just watched a 40-year-old LeBron in the last 4 or 5 minutes, just say, you know what, I'm going to score here, I'm going to go get a steal over there, I'm going to get a rebound over here, I'm going to push it up there, I'm going to knock down this three there.
Yep.
All by itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any of those guys can do that.
Yeah.